life? Why aren't we just peaking, getting out of bed with energy, feeling good? What holds us back? Food, diet, movement, okay? And we're gonna go over all this today. Also, your biohacking, your biology. One of my big things is, I always ask people, do you have the biology to be happy? Okay, now what does that mean? It means, like, for example, I had a girl come in last week and she couldn't balance at all on virtually any yoga pose, and she goes, I'm so uncoordinated. And I could watch her hold her breath. It was like, I'm so coordinated, and she talked like really, really quick, holding her breath. And I said, if I held my breath like that, my biology would be in a sympathetic nervous system state. I wouldn't be able to balance either. So you're not uncoordinated, you just keep holding your breath. And then I said, by the way, do you have challenges with stress? Yeah, I've actually battled anxiety and depression for the last 2 years. Okay, so the biology is not letting her be happy from her breath. Because if it's exaggerated, if I'm exaggerated stress response, it's going to be very hard for me to relax. You guys see the point? So a lot of the time when we're in this stress state, our biology's not there. We have not the right amount of dopamine levels. We don't have the right chemical balance in our brain. Very hard to feel good, do good, be good. Okay, so that's why this is the five-part approach, which is going to make sense as you learn these five steps, why there's these 8 rules and why there's the 8 modalities in the flow class. Okay, so that's where I'm going with this. So first off, how flow started was obviously we see the movement, and for me I could see I watched the way the world was doing fitness and moving, and to put it nicely, I thought it was highly ineffective. Okay, I come from the gym world, spent 10 years as a PT, was doing fitness shows, doing fitness covers, those sort of things back in the day. So I was around that big lifter world, and it got to a point where I'd watch all my friends around me, and I'd been in the gym industry, and I saw this all around Australia, wherever I'd train, is as you hit 25, 26, guys had hit 30, I noticed a couple of things. Every year they're getting weaker. Okay, most guys' max bench was at 22. Okay, it gets worse every year. They get tighter every year. They get less mobile, less flexible in the gym. So it's like, why are we going into this gym to get worse at all functional movements? You guys see that? And then also you start questioning, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to be in good shape, we all do, but when your only goal is 18-inch arms, and you're attached to this goal of pure physical aesthetics, and that's your only goal, I think having a goal that shallow is dangerous, because it screams of, I'm inadequate. When I get the body, then I'll be happy. When I've got the big arms and big chest, guys will respect me. Girls will want me, okay? And then when guys spend 5 years training to get a big chest and they realize, oh, girls don't care. Oh shit, we climbed the wrong ladder, okay? And then what happens when we have these goals that are purely physical, what happens when we do get the abs, and then for whatever reason the mindset drops and the body goes, now I'm not enough again, okay? So we're playing with dangerous territory here. So we all want to be in good shape, absolutely, but when it's the only goal, it's a little bit of dangerous territory. And then moving into the movement, we started looking at, as you guys see, we're trying to get you guys to be all-round athletes, okay? Be good in all modalities, because if I'm going to go work on a 200 kilo bench press for the next 12 months, I can guarantee what's going to happen to my yoga. How good's my 3-minute or 4-minute mile going to look? Okay, how good's my 100-meter dash going to look? These are all going to deteriorate really, really quickly. Same if I just do yoga, and I love yoga. I believe everyone should go in a total immersion of yoga. But after 12 weeks of just doing yoga, I didn't have the fire. I didn't have that endurance. Actually, I didn't have the mobility either. My surfing was very stiff because everything in yoga is quite rigid. Love yoga, not talking shit about yoga, but it's got its limitations. It's got its everything has an expense from we gain. So I believe unless you're going to compete for the next Olympics, you don't want to be a specialist. You want to be an all-rounder. You want to be good in all modalities. And there's some longevity benefits in that as well. And then the way the program's designed, we talk a lot about training smarter, not harder. Because as I steered clear of just lifting weights blindly, wrecking every joint in my body, total imbalance, total yang, total compression, I started doing functional fitness, these group fitness, and to be honest, I saw a lot of half badly organized chaos, okay? And I'm watching people train 6-7 times a week, all this cardio, they're doing plyo with a 2-second warm-up, and I'm watching everyone's bodies eventually fall off a cliff. So I'm like, well, this doesn't work either. I can't just do yoga, can't do just fitness. This is how the modalities were born. And what's funny about the way we train physically is this is just how athletes train. If you watch a professional athlete, maybe in America, it's a little bit backwards here. They go see their yogi in the morning. They'll stretch, they'll do breath work, they'll do meditation, they'll do the mobility work. They'll do their movement prep anytime they're going to do any rigorous exercise. They'll do some weights and then they'll do recovery. Okay, so obviously we don't have 7-8 hours a day, or some of you guys might, I don't. And that's how this was designed. But as we come into the movement, what's the problem with just movement? The mindset always will control your diet. It'll control your body will follow the mind on a long enough timeline. You might do an 8-week challenge, starve yourself to death. If you're like Shane, you'll get the oiled up, the fake tan out, and get a nice shot under the right lighting. And then you might put it back on, because if the mind hasn't developed, you'll go back to old habits, old ways. Okay? my mate loves that blower every time we meditate. I swear he just times it perfectly every day. he never comes when it's the functional, I swear. But I didn't want to create something where we're just creating the movement. Okay, we needed to work the mindset, and this is where yoga is amazing, because there's so much philosophy and meditation in the practice. However, my only beef with just doing meditation is if we don't change our psychology, our lens of the world, we're going to kind of keep needing meditation excessively. Okay, so what do I mean by that? If Shane and I are identical twins, we both grew up same house, same diet, same exercise, we've got the same jobs, and my philosophy is very Taoist, is everything is working for me. The Tao is always working for me to better me. Everything bad happens to me is forced growth, and that's my philosophy. And Shane's philosophy is the world's just out to get me. Everyone's out to get me, everyone's selfish, I'm just always get bad luck. And we both lose our job, same job. Who's going to have a better life? Okay, because the philosophy is different. I'm probably not going to need as much meditation to heal me but also if Shane's got that philosophy, that meditation's going to be a never-ending, he's never going to catch that. It's going to be a mouse on a wheel. Okay, he's always going to be fighting that fight. So if you notice, what we do in a lot of our meditations is start shifting our mindset, our perspective, trying to have a more Eastern, Zen principle philosophy. Okay, so the philosophy of flow, if you Google the philosophy of flow, they'll link it to Taoism, okay, which was 2,500 years ago, which is going to make sense here because it's the reading you're going to do. But 2,500 years ago, a man allegedly named Lao Tzu created the Tao Te Ching and the philosophy of flow. And this was where Buddhism was born from this, Zen was born from this, and it's really very similar to the Stoics, it's very similar to the Gita in India, it's very similar to a lot of the principles in the Bible. It's like everyone around that time, around the world, kind of tuned in, was vibing at a high frequency, and they all kind of got the same messages, okay? And then also we've got to work the diet, because again, if your biology is not there, it's going to be very hard to be happy, okay? Your vibe, which we're going to talk about lately, your vibration, your health, is probably made up in the East or in yoga, they believe it's made up of 50% of your energy, your chi energy or prana that comes through the body, electromagnetic energy, comes from your diet, okay? And all food live food has chi energy in it, okay? The other 50% of our energy comes from, anyone know? We do it at the start of every practice for a reason. The breath. Okay, so if you look at modern society, most people have very shallow breathing. So if we're only breathing at, say, 30% capacity, little breath hold, there's not much chi getting pumped from the atmosphere through our body. Okay, so we're already missing a big chunk of daily energy. And then if our diet is predominantly processed, dead foods, we're also not getting much chi from there either. So you can see why people are so low energy and why we need 45 coffees a day. Okay, this is why. And coffee gives you the same as alcohol. Or coffee gives you a short-term, or alcohol gives you a short-term chi release. So we can sometimes get a bit of alcohol energy. Anyone feel that? Espresso martini. Okay, but then it creates the stagnation the next day, which is when you crash. Okay, coffee gives you a fake high. It's actually draining of your chi energy, but we kind of feel like we get a buzz, okay, because it's kind of, it's cheating. Then we're going to go over biohacking as well, different things to hack, not only the breath, so you can understand the science behind what we're doing with the breath, because with the breath, we're not only charging our body with chi, prana, your breath will hack your biology. It will change what nervous system's operating, whether it's the fight or flight or the rest of the digest system is operational. The breath will determine that. It'll determine what neurochemical balance you have within the brain. Okay, it will also, your brain waves, if you're shooting out very stressed, fast beta brain waves or nice calm alpha theta. Okay, so all these things we're doing, so you'll start to see our meditations, our breath work, we're not just doing it because we think, oh, this is kind of cool, I can get a little bit of a high. We're trying to just calibrate your state, okay, which we're going to get to towards the end. And then lastly, we're going to cover spirituality, which is arguably the most important one, because you can always find someone that's on a terrible diet, terrible mindset, that's got heaps of energy. When? they've got a big purpose. They're on purpose, they're on mission, okay? And part of that is, yes, we all want to find our dharma, our purpose, but most importantly, we want to live our true nature. So we're going to do some exercises today where you're going to identify, and you'll notice in our meditation, what I'm always talking about, tapping into our true nature. When we're living in our true self, our true essence, we are vitalized. We're charging with chi, cosmic energy, okay? When we're living someone else's values, someone else's life, doing a job we don't really want, living someone else's expectation of values, what normally happens? We're very deflated, we've got low energy, maybe even a depressing nature. You guys, this is all making sense? That's all tying together? All right, we're going to go back over those 5 as we go. Let's go into the rules. Number 1, this is an easy one because we live on the sunny coast. I was doing this in Melbourne last year, a little bit harder. Hot, cold showers every morning. Why would we do this to ourselves? Okay. So hot, cold shower, it's not going to be that effective up here because the cold water is not that cold, but it will still work. So what we want to do, nice and easy, is you can start with hot. So every morning, wake up, you start with 30 seconds hot, 30 seconds cold, 30 seconds hot, 30 seconds cold. If you want, you can finish with hot as well. This is really cheating.
I don't know if you've seen my hot water system, but it doesn't do that. 30 seconds.
Well, you have to go a minute. Okay, so what this is actually going to do is help get the blood flow moving, chi moving through the body, and just remove stagnation in the body. Okay, we're going to flush a lot of inflammation, get that blood flow happening, chi flow, start feeling good. Also, maybe more importantly, if you don't want to do it, it's training something else, the mind. Okay, it's training discipline. Okay, how you do anything is how you do everything. There's a reason in the military they'll make sure your bed is to the centimetre. Okay, it's not about the bed, it's about training perfection. It's about training new habits. Okay, so this is a nice easy one. Anyone going to the ice baths tomorrow on the beach? I'm going to do that if anyone's keen. Come down. Tomorrow there's ice baths with the Cool to Be Conscious guys. So if you go, I'm going to go down, I think. So. And there's no think, I definitely am. So might see some of you guys there. That's a little bit more difficult. The cold shower is going to feel really easy after that. And I actually hate the cold, by the way. I'm like a warm weather guy, even though I'm from Melbourne. Number 2 is you want to do 5 flows a week here, okay? So depending on if you're new, you might even be starting with 5 flow abilities, okay? If you can't make it to 5, we've got on demand. If you love surfing, jogging, triathlon, cycling, you can do 1 or 2, okay? It's just making sure there's 5 activities, but you do want to balance the yin and yang. It's one of the key principles of the concept. No one should be doing 5 power hours. You will not progress your weight. The goal of fitness should be to get stronger, more endurance, more flexible, more agile, better balance. If you train too much, it's going to be the law of diminishing returns. You're going to start to get niggles. Nervous system's going to get cooked. Muscles are always going to be sore. Tendon load may be there if you're increasing weight. Okay, so 3-2 is like a really sweet spot for me. If I can do 3 powers, 2 flows, or even 2 powers, 3 flows, I can go into a session feeling strong, feeling fit, where I can either do my best or push to the next weight. Okay, so a couple of things that we will get you guys to do today is I'm actually going to get you on your phones because a couple of reasons. Because we're going to get you access to the back end and you'll have this webinar or this PowerPoint access as well. Also, we're actually going to get you to use notes today in your phone. Okay, rather than doing a print off and doing exercises on a piece of paper that will end up in the bin, I put all my affirmations, goals, visualizations, everything on notes in my phone because this thing's glued to my hand. It's always with me. Okay, so whether I'm waiting, if I'm at a meeting early, I'm in the car, I'm on the toilet, whatever it may be, I'm on my phone. Okay, I'm on notes. Okay, graphic image, nice. All right, the flow diet we're going to go through next and go through the 5 principles on how to raise your vibration. We're going to go over the Tao Te Ching and what reading we're going to do to change your philosophy, to improve the philosophy. Okay, so we'll get into that as well. So all you have to do, so we'll go over the diet shortly, is you need to read 1 verse a night. Okay, so the Tao Te Ching, which I talked about earlier, is 81 verses. Okay, and it's basically poetry. So I actually don't read the Tao Te Ching. It's far too deep for me to understand, to be honest. So Wayne Dyer has written there's tens of thousands of interpretations of the Tao Te Ching where people have interpreted the 81 verses. Okay, Wayne Dyer, in my opinion, anyone know Wayne Dyer? Followed some of his work. I think his interpretation is the best, and it's got an exercise every day. So all you need to do is download that book, which we've got your links for all in this back-end website, and read 1 verse per day. And what it's going to do is change your perspective. Okay, it's going to put you in, basically the Tao Te Ching was written on the observation of nature and the understanding that we are just part of this nature, we're part of the same ecosystem. And when we live in these same rules, in harmony with the rules of the universe, life just starts to get easy, effortless, and we start to tap into that flow state. Okay, surrendered. So we're going to go over that. I've created a meditation which I call a calibration, which now when you listen to this meditation, you're going to understand, especially as we go through today, what we're doing in each phase. There's 8 phases of the meditation. Okay, so if you get bored of my voice, I understand, you can listen to another meditation. But this is designed to change the calibration of your nervous system, your brain waves. It's designed to bring out your true nature, to focus on that, to focus on your best self, to let go of things. There's a lot of cleansing in the energy of that as well. So we'll go over that shortly as well. Number 7 is my most difficult one, is no phone for an hour a day. Okay, this is going to be very energizing for your mind, because even when the phone is on in the room, your brain subconsciously is connected to it. It's thinking, it's waiting, it's what do we do when we get a notification? I'm on it like someone's about to steal my last chip. You know. So if you can remove it just for an hour a day, you're going to have a lot more mental energy. You're going to really release that this vacuum that's just sucking in those dopamine highs levels, okay? So that's one of the other ones as well. And at the end of every week, we are going to journal. Okay, journal is a fantastic way to cleanse, heal, manifest, and just get things off your chest. So I've been doing this strictly for the last 12 weeks, and it's been a great experience to actually read back week to week. And I've had a really strong 10 weeks, so it's literally kind of hard to believe 8 weeks ago the different thoughts you're having. So it's very good to see. It's very good cleansing, get it out of the system. So we're going to talk about flow, but in Chinese medicine, we want good qi flow, we want good blood flow, we want good digestive flow, we want good life flow. Okay, stagnation equals death. Okay, in Chinese medicine and in nature, look at a pond. What happens to still water, stagnant water? Okay, it goes off. What happens to running water? It's much cleaner. Okay, so this is just one of the philosophies of the Tao. They link a lot of our life to this. So with journaling, we can help get rid of some of that stagnant emotions, energy, thoughts, feelings, clearing. And what happens when we clear energy? We create space for new energy. Okay, has anyone had anyone close to them, like leaves their life for whatever reason, that energy's gone, the next day something comes back in? Never had that? Never noticed it? Okay. This will always happen, okay, because everything is energy. We'll go over this later, but Nikola Tesla says the secret of the universe is to understand everything is vibration, energy, and frequency. Okay, and it's all just space. Okay, and if you follow a lot of Joe Dispenza's meditations, all he does is talks about space. And he's got a whole meditation on being observant of the space, the energy within the space, the space, the space. He repeats the space about 55 times in meditation. So they're the 8 rules. So what are we trying to do with these 8 rules? We're trying to remove inflammation from the body. The flow diet is designed to let the body heal. Okay, when we remove inflammation from the diet, a lot of your injuries will go. Okay, also a lot of you guys, if you've got a high inflammation diet and lifestyle, a lot of yang energy as well, you're going to have trouble focusing. You're going to have a lot of brain cloud, a lot of fogginess. Anyone feel like they're foggy too many hours a day? Okay, you remove the inflammation from the diet, which we're going to show you today, you're not going to have that big a problem. When we release the energy through the flow diet, our third principle, increasing flow, digestive flow, get rid of that stagnation in the guts, in the blood and the chi, you're going to have a lot more energy. You're going to start to vibrate at a lot higher level. Okay, you're going to wake up with this sparkle in your eye. Okay, it's all that we all know someone that's got super high energy, high vibration. Generally, think about someone you really look up to, super successful, in whatever success is to you. What's their vibe? Is anyone's person they're thinking of tired, fatigued, bit angry all the time, depressed? Of course not. Okay, the person you're thinking about there would be very high vibration, the opposite, which we're going to talk about the chart of the vibration of food, energy, thoughts, all the above. Let's move into the flow diet. Any questions on the 8 rules before we go? Because we will go into more details.
Can I drink coffee?
1 coffee a day, okay? So the reason I'm saying no, I don't think anyone should drink coffee on this, but the withdrawal symptoms can be far too severe and it will wreck your whole 8 weeks. So whatever coffee you're doing, I recommend halving it. So I'm doing 2 a day, I'm going to do 1 a day. Because has anyone come off caffeine strictly? What did you feel?
The first 2 weeks you get like the headaches.
Yeah, headaches, yeah. So it's almost too painful for an 8-week challenge. I had probably 4 weeks, 4 to 5 weeks. And I'm only doing 2 coffees a day. But coming off it it's like, they say it's like coming off heroin or whatever. It's severe. So it must be good for you, right? Any other questions? We will go over diet. So the other good news is, can you drink? Everyone's been asking me, or as I just keep asking that. I'm not impartial to a good time. So, yes, you can have some alcohol, okay? We've got some rules and limits around it. You want to drink smarter. You don't want to drink more than 3 drinks in a sitting during this period, really 2, because it will start to deplete your chi, it will drain your vibration, it will deplete your nutrients, it will raise inflammation, and you'll just keep putting, you'll go 7 days good, go back 4, okay? But the good news is, in Eastern philosophy, Chinese medicine, they believe 1 wine is quite good for chi and quite good for digestion. So I don't know if I read that or I just made that up to validate my one night a wine habit. But no, so you can have a couple of drinks. You don't want to be drinking sugar, because one of the rules is no sugar. So no cocktails, no espresso martinis, unfortunately. Okay, unless you want to do black coffee with, you'd be doing a black espresso with vodka. But yeah, there's not a lot of carbs in wine, especially white wine as well. So you can kind of get away with 1 or 2. But yeah, any more than 2 drinks and it's downhill very, very quickly. 1's sort of the sweet spot. But again, I wouldn't be doing it every night. Okay, any other quick diet questions before we go? We'll go into the depths of diet. It's actually really simple. Yep.
How about
decaf. Decaf's not great for you. It's highly processed, so it's not. But it's probably better than, in a lot of ways, coffee, because coffee's going to deplete your chi. It's going to drain your adrenals. Although it does have cognitive benefits, for sure. And yes, there are studies that show coffee's got some health benefits. But you've got to remember, coffee, I think, is the 2nd most traded commodity in the world. So there's some people paying for studies that are going to what? Make it look good or bad? Good. There's no money in it looking bad. Okay, so you always, whenever you read studies about anything, you've got to really go, who's funded it? Why is this being studied? And there's not a lot of studies on breath. Why? Can't really charge people for it. Okay, if oxygen starts getting charged at per litre, there'll be all these studies on how good breath is. Okay. This is how the world works. It's very monetarily influenced, if you like. It kind of rules, it still rules the world. So they're the 5 elements of flow, they're the 8 rules. So if you'll go onto the app now, we'll go to this website, flowstatestudios.com.au/8WT. Oh no, it's tools, I've written that wrong. 8WT tools. I changed that last night. Okay, and what you're going to get there is you're going to get the workbook, which this is based on, and this slide. Okay, so there's going to be some questions and activities later, which is why you're going to need to go back over the workbook later. There's also the questions for your journaling once a week in this workbook. You're also going to find a recording on this webinar that I did last night, and you're going to find the link to the book. You're going to find the link to this meditation download, this calibration. And there's the details on how to enter the competition for you guys that want to enter that. What's that? Sorry, my tools, yes, 8WT tools. All right, so first one, movement. If you are into Power Hour, I want you to write down what your weight you have been lifting on upper body, full body, and lower body day is. And the general rule, if you've been doing this a while, you might want to improve 10% over the 8 weeks. That would be a really good overload, progressive overload. If you can up your weights 10% over the 8 weeks, could you potentially do 20? If you're new and you've been slacking off, you can probably do 20. But see how strong you can get in this period. And in this download, if you want to know where you're at as far as strength level goes, we have the chart. Okay, so all based on your body weight. So for example, I'm 80 kegs, so advanced would be 20% of my body weight. So for me to get to, Flow Master is 20%. So for me to reach the highest level on this, I would need to be needing to do 16 kilos, which is super tough. Okay, so that's how I can compare to a 45 kilo female, because the 45 kilo female is never going to, well, they might not lift, probably won't lift more than me, but it should be on body weight. Okay, so if I'm a 50 kilo female, you only need to do 10 kilo to do Flow Master, because that's 20% of your body weight. Does that make sense? So it's kind of like CrossFit, based on your body weight, so the calculation is fair. So we want you to get stronger over that period. And find your sweet spot. Find what keeps you strong. Is it 2 powers, 3 flow? Is it 3 powers, 2 flow? Okay, find your sweet spot. And they say, one of my favorite mentors, I guess, Paul Chek, says if you can't come into the workout and either do your best, equal to your best or better, you've got to go back to recovery. Okay, recovery is the new performance. Okay, recovery is everything. And most people are overtraining. And most people, they're doing gym, functional training, are getting weaker, stiffer, tighter, less mobile. Okay, remember that. So let's go into the flow diet. So with the flow diet, we have 5 principles. Number 1 is eat your chi, eat high vibrational foods. They're the same, okay? I'm not gonna go into a heap of detail on what foods, because the funny thing is, the answers to all 5 rules is it's the same foods. The same foods are good, the same foods are bad, okay? It's really simple. So the first one, high chi, high vibrational food. What foods do you think are gonna have high vibration, high chi in them? Well done. Okay, really simple. Fruit and vegetables, and they're more alive. So the more alive the food, the higher vibration in it, the more alive it's going to be, the more chi. And as you can probably guess, the foods with no chi or very low vibration are processed, overcooked, artificial. Okay, so if we look at the vibrational chart, so if you go to and this, if you're on your phone, this is slide number 15, okay? So if you look at slide 15, Andre Simerton come up with the food vibration chart, where he started to understand that all food, we can measure its vibrational frequency. It's vibrational, it's sound, it's vibration waves, basically. And he come up with this chart that basically says great human health sits at 6,500 angstrom, okay, which is just a way of measuring energy. That's where we want to be. He understood at 6,500, we are full of good health, vibrations high, we're vibing high, illness-free, disease-free. He also understood when the human vibration started to get down to 3,000 to 6,500, this is where people had common cold, sick, flu, and he started to notice depressive thoughts, victim mindset, defeated mindset, because the energy's low, it's very dense. Okay, and then he also understood that under 3,000 is when you start to get cancer, disease, and at 0, someone is obviously dead. Okay, so this was based on that. So it's no surprise that so good human health at 6,500. Eating it above that, 6,500, 10,000, are things like fruit and vegetables, herbs, essential oils, okay, good oils, olive oils, good oils, natural spring water. These are all high vibration. So if you're going to eat high vibrational diet, what do you think is going to happen to your vibration? We're going to slowly get that average up, depending on what happens to the rest of our life, because also what affects this vibration is our thoughts, emotions. And if you ever question, how does my emotional affect my vibration? You look at someone that's just had a breakup. What's their vibration? It's shattered. They can't eat. They're feeling sick. They go white. They want to leave the house. Okay? An extreme emotion. Okay? If someone's in spirit, inspired, living on purpose, that's the energy they're living. They're full of energy, even with a poor diet, generally. Okay? Donald Trump's probably a good example of that. I said on the webinar last night. The guy apparently sleeps 3 to 4 hours a night. He's 70 odd, and he's just full of energy. The guy just keeps going, keeps building, wants to run for president again. So you would ask, how can someone on a low vibration diet and lifestyle have such a high vibration as far as energy goes? He's on purpose. You guys might not agree with his purpose, but to him, he is on purpose. Okay, whether you love or hate him, he's in his own purpose. Okay, so he's highly driven. Now what's interesting here, that's kind of obvious. Now what was really interesting about this vibrational chart for me is grains. Non-GMO, unprocessed grains were actually considered quite high vibration. The problem with that is we have next to no access to no GMO, high vibration, clean, organic grains as a generalization in society. Most bread you go by, most dough, most pasta is generally very artificial, very sprayed, deteriorated. And then what happens is, he says, one of the worst things you can have is grains that are GMO. They then become instantly from high vibration to pretty much dead. And then you're basically just eating dead carb sugar. So sometimes people think, oh, I'm having bread, it's great. If it's full of GMOs, you may as well just be eating sugar. You know, you're not going to get the same insulin spike, but the inflammation response is going to be through the roof. And this is the problem with modern industrialization of food. Okay?
What's GMO?
GMO is genetically modified. So they've sprayed it, genetically modified the growth period to speed up the growth. Normally a lot of chemicals. It hasn't developed properly. So in a lot of ways, the chi wouldn't have developed. It's a little bit of inflammation in the sugar. Have a bit of dairy if you have to. It will irritate your gut, but never, ever have fried food. I guess that's someone that tests their biomarkers of inflammation in their blood every day. Okay, so that's one of our rules of the diet. It's going to free up. Cass had launched into fried food last night. So that's obviously number one. Sugar is the same, high inflammation causing in the body, also hurts your insulin levels, it can link to diabetes. It also creates, which we'll talk about shortly, stagnation in the blood. Stagnation in the blood creates plaque, obviously leads to the biggest killer in man, okay? So that's really obvious. So we want to eat anti-inflammatory foods. What are they? Clean fish, berries, nuts, oils, all the same things that are high vibration. You guys seeing the pattern here? Okay, so number 3 is we want to clear stagnation. So I've studied a lot of digestive health and inflammation, and it's funny, all the doctors in digestive health say poor digestion and stagnation of digestion causes 100% of disease and cancer. It all starts in the gut, because what happens is when you get stagnation in the stomach, kind of like if I leave food on the ground here, what's going to happen on a long enough timeline? It's going to go off, okay? It's going to protein will putrefy, carbs will ferment. That same thing will happen in my belly, and I'll absorb that putrefaction, that rot, okay? So the digestive world thinks digestive stagnation is the cause of all disease and cancer, and then the inflammation world says, no, it's inflammation, that every single person with cancer and disease all has high levels of inflammation. But if you look at the foods that cause it, it's both, because anyone with a bad digestive system is going to have high inflammation. Anyone with high inflammation is also going to have bad digestion because they've got there the same way. Does that make sense? Okay, so it's the same foods. So we want to clear the digestive system. Best way to do that is to eat foods rich in enzymes, fiber. Okay, so it will naturally break itself down, it will naturally absorb, be uptaken, and it will naturally pass through the system. Make sense? It's pretty easy, it's pretty simple stuff. But now we just want to start to change the way we see food now, because now when I see a burger, I don't just see, I don't really check calories, I don't really care. It's not what I'm worried about. It's like child's play, calories in, calories out. The important stuff is, what's the vibration of this burger? Probably 0. Okay, what's the inflammation response on it? What's processed meat? High. Bread, processed, GMO, high. All the fats in all the mayos, high. And it's going to stagnate in my gut because it's got no enzymes, no fiber. My body's not going to break it down. So that's how I would start to reframe how we see food. Okay. Next up is balance. This is the interesting one. My opinion on most diets is they're the law of diminishing returns. Okay. Whether you're, the big craze in the biohacking world right now is eating 100% meat, pure carnivore diet, and their biomarkers are going through the roof, clearing disease, diabetes, whatever it may be, okay? And that's working well now. And I'm sure it will work now. You've just removed sugar from the diet, removed a lot of other nasties, so there's going to be a benefit to that. I've done the fruitarian diet, Steve Jobs style, 90% fruit, nothing else, or nuts and seeds. Feel great for the first month, all these antioxidants, all this fiber, clear the digestive system. Oh my God, this diet's amazing. I'm going to start selling it. Month 3 or 4, you're 65 kilo wringing wet and people start asking if you're okay. Okay? So, and this is what happens in most diets. So what's going to be the most sustainable? Eating in, yin and yang, balance. And we want to balance carbs, proteins, and fats. But here's the interesting thing about that. If we're going to balance all 3, does that mean my plate should look like a perfect third? Why not?
Because that's not a perfect third.
that's probably another reason. Really? I thought it was a perfect Michelangelo circle. The reason is, if you've got an equal fat, carbs, protein, fats have 2.5 times more calories per gram. So if I follow this, I'm not actually eating a third calories wise. I'm eating probably 60% fat, which is far too high. Okay, so if you guys probably already know this, protein has how many calories per gram? Does anyone know? 4, correct. Carbs? 4 as well. Fat? 2, 9. So in this ratio, we need to approximately half the fat. Obviously, it's not exactly half. So what I'm actually going to do is, instead of eating 33, if I'm looking at a plate, because I don't want to be counting calories for the rest of my life every day. I think it'll cause me more mental health battles than the food, than the extra calories, okay? But what I can do is kind of look at a plate and go, it's about even, okay? But we don't want even. We want to, because fat is twice as dense in calories, we want to half the fat. So half of 33 is about 16%. So 16% of your plate should be fats, okay? And then if you split the other two, what's left, you're looking at about 42%, 42%. Okay, so I'm not going to try and draw that. But yeah, so you want a plate of about 42% carbs, 42% protein, and about 16% fats. That will create a fairly even caloric balance. Make sense? Easy. Alcohol is 7, by the way. Every gram of alcohol is 7 calories. So that can add up. Now, yeah. So here's what you're going to enjoy the most is I love eating out and don't really want to stop that in my challenge. So I'm going to play this a little bit more smartly. Is that a word? So what I'm going to do is, if I'm going to go have Italian, is my favorite food. So I'm going to go have an Italian tonight, nice large pizza, couple of red wines. This is very high in carbs. There's a bit of oil in the cheese and whatnot as well. So it's basically purely carbs, a little bit of fat, and next to no protein. So this doesn't work quite well for my plate. But I'm going to start to take a step back and look at my calories over the whole day. So if I'm having pizza tonight, which I'm not, but if I chose to, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a balance. How am I going to do that? My breakfast or lunch is going to be very low in carbs, very low in fat, very high in protein. Now I've created the balance for the day. So this is how I'm just allowing to still cheat a little bit, okay? On the diet, am I going to do Italian? It kind of breaks the diet by using grains, very high inflammation. However, it's always hard to know where the dough's sourced, but there's a reason the Italians eat pizza non-stop and they don't have all these inflammation problems, because they're growing it properly. They're not getting it from Woolies, okay? It's Nana's recipe from the field out back. Okay, so that's the difference. Because we look at France, we look at the Mediterranean diet, it's so heavily promoted, they do eat a lot of carbs, but don't seem to have the problems that the rest of the world with carbs have. What's the difference? How it's processed. And we saw that in this vibrational chart. Grains, naturally, actually quite high. As soon as they're processed or GMO, they're very, very dead, okay? So that's how you want to start looking at your day. Now, do I want to count calories every day? I could not think of anything worse. Control my life by a number on a screen, okay? So, but in saying that, I do want to know loosely what the calories of the food I'm eating are. And I only want to do this once. The reason is I've had a lot of people saying, oh, I'm on a no-carb diet, eating a banana. Okay? Well, this is pure carbs. Okay, I've had people really struggle to lose weight, but they're having they're on paleo and they're having bacon, avocado, 4 tablespoons of peanut butter in their smoothie. Going to be very hard to lose weight because it's so caloric dense food. Okay, so I do recommend doing calories once. So I do have references on here for you. So calorieking.com is always the go-to. So what I do recommend, and we're not going to do this now because we're short on time, is you want to count your calories, see what you've eaten for the day, count the calories to get your base, and see, hey, am I eating 1,000 calories a day, or is it 5,000? I'm just totally unaware. Okay, do it once, you get a guideline, you know some basics of foods, you're probably educated a lot there as well. Then, if you want to know what your calculation on how many calories a day you should be on based on you're going to go to calculator.net. You're going to put in your weight, day, age, activity level, and this is going to show you your daily caloric estimation. So I burn about 3,000 calories a day. If I want to put on muscle, I've got to go to about 3.2, and if I want to lose weight, it's about 2.8. Okay, so I know that loosely. I don't really count it. I go and watch. If I'm getting a bit chunky, I'll look at the size of my plate, and I know I eat 1.5 plates for dinner. I'm now eating 1. Okay, if I'm getting a bit skinny, been doing too much activity, starting to eat away, I'll increase that to 2 serves. So it's pretty simple, but I'm always trying to use these ratios, and I can still go out, still have a good time here and there within reason, but I'm going to substitute that for the day. So that's why I recommend this 8 weeks. And if you can see the plate like that and think in terms of low inflammation, high vibration, easy digestion, good flow in the blood, digestive system and your chi, this is going to make a big difference the way you feel. Okay, so I've got example days here as well. The last 2 rules I'm going to fly through is, last 1 rule is just purity. You want to eat as pure, clean as possible. If that example on the GMO breads and carbs, grains, doesn't give you an explanation on why you want to eat organic and clean as possible, I don't know what will. So that is that. Other things, so meal timing. I've trained a lot of intermittent fasting in my time. I've had people lose over 100 pounds in intermittent fasting in 8 weeks. Intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting traditionally most common is 18 and 6. 16 and 8. We don't eat for 16 hours and we eat within an 8-hour window. Normally most people will start eating at lunch, finish dinner by 8, and that's your eating window. Meaning before lunch you don't have breakfast, you drink water and tea. This is quite a difficult way to fast because you're going to be pretty bloody hungry by 10 a.m. So we're kind of going into a middle ground here. So our intermittent fasting protocol that I recommend is you're going to go liquid till lunch. Okay, or no digestion till lunch, meaning your morning breakfast is going to be in the form of smoothie, maybe in a acai bowl, fruit. There's not really much digestion in fruit. Nice and light, nice high vibration, and it meets all the rules of the diet. I'm going to start to introduce meat later in my day because I still eat meat. Okay, so I'm going to have a steak. I naturally have it before bed because I know it's harder digestion, a little bit of inflammation. It's actually going to probably help put me to sleep because I get that slight food coma effect. I'm never going to have a steak at lunch because it's going to slow me down. It's going to sit in my gut. The chi, the energy is going to go to the gut and slow me down for the rest of the day. Okay, so this is why we time it that way. You will unlock your body's energy system doing this because you're not eating all night, and for the first 5 hours of the day, you're only eating easy digesting food that requires, and digestion is probably the most taxing energetic function of the body. Okay, so if you're always feeling tired, it's probably because you're digesting food all day. Okay, so you want to give your body a support system. So when you think about it, if your body's not having to fight inflammation, not having to digest food all the time, what does it now get to do? It starts to regenerate cells, starts to heal. Okay, and this is when, people on this, you go 4 weeks on this, you will notice the complexion. You won't have as much redness, the inflammation around your face. You won't have as much puffiness around maybe the bottom of the chin here. Okay, your eyes will clear up quite significantly. You'll get a lot wider eyes. Okay, but most importantly, if we raise your vibration, it's going to come out in your energy, your personality, the way you approach life. Okay, so that's diet. We are running out of time. So the good thing is I've filmed this whole PowerPoint with all the details, all the avoid food list, the limit list, the consume freely list on that website. Quick eating out guide. If I'm eating out for the whole day, that's what my day will look like based on these principles. So I've shown you guys all that. Eating in, I've got you how I would eat in as well. It's a very bachelor cooking recipe. So don't ask me for recipes. It's normally salmon with a bit of sauce in a jam jar. So there's no magic to the recipes. So, and we're not doing recipes as well because so many people have so many gluten intolerances, dairy intolerances, can't have this, that. I'd have to write 25 versions of each food to suit most people, okay? So that's the diet there, but giving you examples there, so that's all stuff to look at tonight. So let's go into the exciting stuff. This is probably my favorite stuff. This is kind of, for me, it's interesting and it's going to be very effective, but you can kind of get this information, anywhere if you read enough books. And I was going to say, if you go study nutrition, you probably get none of it. No offense, if anyone's studying nutrition. But we have, so the most important thing we're trying to do here is change our state, to calibrate our flow state. So if you have your state here, nearly drew that wrong. You knew what I was about to draw there. So you've got your state here, your vibration. And at any time right now, I have either my parasympathetic nervous system operating or my sympathetic nervous system. My brain waves are either shooting out fast, slow. I've got different chemical reactions being released into the body through my brain, determining if I feel good, happy, sad, depressed, inspired, all the above. This is all measurable. A lot of it's measurable now. Okay, and the study of flow state is the measure of all these, they call it the neurochemical cocktail, okay, which is, I'll go into it later. But what is creating our vibration? Hopefully we get the first one right, because we just spent 20 minutes on it. Diet, what we put in our body, and what did we say the other 50% of our energy comes from? Breath. These are all affecting it. But not only the breath, we also, the rest of nature. Okay, that's why you watch people. I was observing last week, I was at Sunshine Beach Surf Club, and I've just looked in the park, it's right by the ocean, and everyone that's sitting there is asleep. Okay, I'm like, why is everyone asleep and relax so much when they're in the ocean? Because these negative ions and the energy is having an effect on your state. Those people's brain waves are changing, their nervous system operation is changing, everything is changing in a measurable, and a lot of it's not measurable as well though, okay, because science is still very limited. What else will change our state? movement, thoughts is the biggest one. Thoughts, and you probably can't read my terrible writing here, emotions. Okay, and my example I said on the webinar was if you ever question what your emotions, what you're feeling, what you're thinking about has an effect on the biology of your body, there's no more stronger example than if I got you guys to come up and run the rest of the seminar. How are you going to feel? What's your state going to be? Some of you might want to throw up. Some of you will get, when I started public speaking, I'd get diarrhea. Okay? Okay, so this is the biology because of our thoughts and feelings. Thoughts and feelings are almost the same because our feelings are there because a certain thoughts created a feeling. And this can get stuck in our body forever if we don't clear it. Okay, so this is all creating our state. Have I missed anything there? Oh yeah, and the senses is the biggest one as well. So our senses are also creating and this is how we can biohack the state through nature, being in the ocean. I recommend listening to a lot of music. The music is very healing. The vibration of sound, what's sound? It's just a frequency, a vibration. You are all just trillions of atoms vibrating at a certain frequency. So sound is extremely healing. So I actually get to a point some mornings, if I go for a beach walk, I've had my coffee, I do my meditation, I do my visualization, I kind of stack everything, and I'm playing music, I can kind of get too high. Like I'm like, and this is when Shane gets, Cole, I got an idea. And Shane's like, oh fuck no. So these are all creating our state, and we can manipulate all of these. This is the exciting thing. We can manipulate all of them to change your state. Now the great thing about this is the results you have in life, your friendships, your income, your health, your vitality, everything you have is a result of your behavior. Being a certain way, have a certain thing. Okay, so your behaviors over time are creating what you have, your haves and have-nots. So when most people want to change their haves, what do they want to do? Change everyone else. I need better friends. I need a better job, a better boss, a better education system, parents with money. Okay, it's always out. Where we need to change the be. When we start to be, if we want to change our world, we are just frequency, and you could call that karma, okay? It's just the cause and effect, action, reaction. I drop this ball, it'll hit the ground. Action, laws of the universe, okay? This is also a law of the universe. So the exciting thing is what we're doing at Flow in our 8 modalities is, we obviously don't do the diet in the modalities, okay? But we're doing breath every single session to change and upgrade your state, create more calm, create more relaxation, and also in our meditation, you'll notice now, so now you do the meditations, you're going to understand what we're trying to do, because if most people are in a negative state, what's their thoughts and feelings normally fixated on? Problems, all the things wrong. Coronavirus, oh my God, the world's so unfair, the government's corrupt, it's taking away my freedoms, oh my mum's believes, and we're judging everyone, we're having wars on everyone with social media, they shouldn't be doing that, they shouldn't be back, should. We're all looking out, projecting our judgments, okay? And this is why most people are in a very tense, unhappy state, and what's the results they get? More of what they don't want, okay? So the best way to change this is to change our thoughts. So in our meditations, what we're generally doing, and generally how I design a meditation, is to calm the body, number one, because most people's state is over alert. Too much coffee, stress, we live in a yang environment. Everything's about order, money, bosses on your ass, kids are screaming, carrying on, friends want to catch up, life is chaos. You've got 24 notifications pumping a day on 17 different platforms. It's chaos. So our meditation always starts with calming your state. The flow state is a very calm, relaxed state. Okay, so that's number one. Then what we do is try and release old energies. So you'll notice in a lot of the breath work, we'll release not only the body, try and release emotions, and we try and deal with maybe some negative emotions we're holding on to. And you'll notice some of our meditations will talk about find something that you're holding on to that's upsetting you, getting you angry, and we want to release that. Okay, and the best way to release negative emotions is through compassion and growth. Okay, so that's kind of the psychology behind it. So whatever you have as an issue, maybe your dad was an asshole to you and you still hold on to that every day because you've judged him for the last 35 years on what an ass he is and what he did to your mum and your sister and your family and how much it screwed up your life. Do you want to live with that? Probably not. So we can normally release these energies through a 2-part system, which is, was he doing the best he could with the skills he had, the mindset he had? Because everyone, 99.999% of the time, is doing the best they can with the skills, knowledge they have, just trying to navigate through this very difficult thing called life. Okay, and sometimes that doesn't work out so well for you. But when we come from a compassion, we can start to let go. Second of all is when you ask someone in that scenario, what did it teach you? You're probably going to get a list a mile long. Okay? It's what's created them to be a great father, or them to be a great mentor, or maybe they do work that helps kids without parents, whatever it may be. So we can start to remove that. So that's generally the meditation. And then in our meditation, I can create whatever state I want right now. If I start following the Victorian government right now, I can put myself in a really angry state pretty easily. Let's go to war. Civil war, let's go. Or I can put myself in a really happy state. How? I follow my emotions will follow my thoughts, my state will follow that route. Okay, so we know a lot of meditations, and one of my favourite Taoist meditations is to sit there and smile. Smile through your mouth, smile through your biology, smile through your organs, focus on all the things that make you smile. Your state will change very, very, very quickly. Okay, so the best thing about this is there's a quote on this when you look at this in close. I'll get it up. Joe Dispenza. I'm going to skip through. By beginning to mentally rehearse new ways of being, you start rewiring yourself neurologically to a new mind. And the more you can remind or remodel the mind yourself, the more you'll change your brain and your life. So the brain, like the body, we're creatures of habit. So the more we can feel and think and be in a good result, like in a happy state, whatever's most common, the body wants to continue. What fires together, wires together. Okay, so if you start meditating, they say in 8 weeks, a lot of Joe Dispenza studies, in 8 weeks of meditation, they can measure your brain, and the pathways and the energy of your brain can completely transform, completely moving different parts of your brain's not even functioning in certain parts of that brain anymore in just 8 weeks. So this is why part of the 8-week challenge. If you meditate every single day for 8 weeks, and what we're doing is changing our thoughts, changing our state, and what you'll notice as well, we're always visualizing our peak state, because as we said before, probably the most invigorating thing you can do is living in spirit, living on purpose, living in your highest values. So now you guys seeing the strategy here, what we're trying to do? Okay, the movement's awesome. There's nothing more invigorating than looking good, feeling like an all-round athlete, being mobile, having a body that can be super active at 80, 90. That's my goal of it. That's awesome. But this is the deeper stuff that can really transform that vibration. So hopefully that gives you a good understanding of why meditation is so important. For me, that's the why behind meditation. That's why it's called a calibration, because every time I'm meditating now, all I'm trying to do is calibrate my breath, my thoughts, my emotion, my senses, calm down, upgrade the B. My have starts to get better. Make sense? So this is what we're trying to do. Upgrade starts here. So that's a little bit of an example of what we're trying to do there. And obviously, actually the biggest one is, as I've already said, your purpose, your true essence, living your true nature is going to have the highest effect on that as well. So this is a really interesting one as well to look at. So if you're on your phone, this is slide, what slide is it? Why is it not telling me? Look for this slide. What slide is it? 29, okay, is your vibrational effective thoughts. So very similar to the food vibrational chart, no surprise that love, joy, reason are all very high on the vibrational list. And a thing to think about, on the low side of the list, under 110, is desire, anger, fear, grief, apathy, guilt, shame. Do you ever see someone angry able to also be quite loving and caring? It generally doesn't happen. Okay, we can't be in both states. Now, this is based on the work of David Hawkins. He believes most people sit at, what do you guys think? If you're on your phone, what do you think most people live at? Based on, he's done a lot of kinesiology testing.
35.
Which is what number? What number? 200. We're being a little over-optimistic here. It's about 100, yeah. He reckons about 100, 110 is where most people live in this vibration. And this is because of our food, our thoughts, all the above. Now what's going to happen to this scenario if we're at a very low vibration? We're going to keep repeating the same thoughts, the same emotions, the same diet, the same senses. Nothing gets better. And what happens when nothing gets better and things don't seem to change? We get more negative, we get more frustrated, and here we get angry. Okay, so this should be the most liberating thing. When I sort of figured this all out, because I'd spent my whole life when I started learning this, blaming other people. Oh, I grew up in a poor family, went to a shit school, blah, blah, life's not fair. When I learned this, I was like, hey, this is good, because this means if I can change, if this is true, I just have to change, right? Well, this is the best news I ever heard. This is like the greatest gift because I spent my whole life thinking my life was just a byproduct of luck, circumstance. And when I figured this out, I was like, oh my God, it means, so I remember at the time when I first started learning this, I was in the supermarket reading in the line, because I just wanted to change my life so bad. I was in so much pain, so much poverty, so much illness, and grew up very sick, okay? And that created drastic change. So, this is another reason what we're doing in a meditation. We're tapping into feelings and doing techniques to help you feel feelings of compassion, love, harmony, all the things high on the vibration, raising that vibration up. And over time, your average of 110 will slowly creep up. You're not going to go from 100 to 500 overnight, but over 8 weeks, we're going to keep chipping away and going up there. I'm not going to go over the science of the flow state. You can watch that on the webinar. I'm also not going to go over slide. Well, it's not showing me slides anymore. The 12 principles of living in flow, it must be like 34 or 5. But this is basically the mindset shifts we're trying to create in our meditation. So I've got a whole hour video on that, which is on the back end as well, down the bottom. Okay, so down the bottom there's a few videos. There's also a video with Dan Brulé, who in my opinion is the best breathwork coach in the world. He trains Tony Robbins on breath, Navy SEALs, Olympic teams. I think he's the best that I've come across. Like Wim Hof's the most famous because he's got the most, I guess, marketable strategy, but Dan Brulé trains, in my opinion, the broadest range and bases it on science and the spirit. Okay, both angles. There's also a really good, if you're wanting to know more about the philosophy of flow, Taoism, Eastern philosophy, there is an interview I did with David Malajou, who's one of my good friends, who's one of the most respected Chinese medicine practitioners and studiers of the Tao flow in the world. Okay, and he actually created the formula and the ratios behind our scent for our aromatherapy stuff we're launching too. So that's how he comes in. But if you look at these quick 12 principles, I go over this every single day. So this is something I also put in my notes. Okay, so every single morning, because I just want to calibrate my mind to not be attached, to not be tense, because I'm quite entrepreneurial, so I'm very dense. And I know that's not the flow state, it's the opposite. So I have to calm myself down every day, because I'm just like a bull in a tea store sometimes. Just So first one. So probably for me, the second one is accept reality and just go. Because I always want everything faster. Quick, 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 now, now, now. It's that yang masculine side, okay? So first, second rule, everything's where it's meant to be. Everything's in perfect order, at perfect time, chill. And now what would happen to my chemistry in that one reading that? It drops down a lot. And I notice I'll be tense, ready to go, had my coffee, I'm peaking. Calm down, Dave. Relax. But even number 4, embrace uncertainty. If every single, embrace challenge, problems, uncertainty. If you see life that every time you get challenge, problems, uncertainty, that you think it's working for you, how good's your life going to be as opposed to if you just react to it unconsciously? Because unconsciously, how do we react to problems? Not good. So have a look at that. We can't go through that all today. This is the book that I recommend, the Tao Te Ching. It's said to be the wisest text ever written. Okay? It's been translated more than any other text in history other than the Bible. So essentially it's the Chinese Bible, but they don't follow it's not a religion, it's a philosophy, and they don't follow it anymore. It actually got banned in China for a number of years. It's too pure. You can't manipulate people with it. That's why if your people go, why isn't it bigger? Well, it's the observation of nature and saying we are nature and live in harmony. You can't start manipulating it and say, oh, well, you should be gay, you should go to, all these different, you shouldn't this, shouldn't that. There's no he's or shoulds. It's harmony with the universe. So generally, people that have power don't kind of like to use those philosophies. You're not able to manipulate and control the same. They much like text where they can change the story a little bit. There's no story here in the Tao Te Ching or the Tao Te Ching. It's just based on the observation of nature over thousands of years. So one verse a night is all you need. So with that meditation that I have developed, we'll go through it here on, anyone know what slide that is? The daily flow daily calibration? Sounds right, 34. Okay, so if you look at the 8-part calibration, so understanding this audio that you've got in that, what we're trying to do, number 1 is through the breath, scan, release the body, mind, attachment. So it's a strategy where we're breathing into certain muscle groups, letting go physically, finding any emotion we're holding on to, letting go emotionally, and also letting go of attachment of the future, trying to force everything. Because living in flow is about surrender, not trying to force everything. Okay, number 2 is we charge chi. We use a Buddha breath to connect with the light, to connect with a higher source, this prana, God, spirit, your higher self, whatever you believe in, and we're going to charge the body with that. Number 3 is we're going to tap back into the now, calm back down, heighten the senses, come into the present. Okay, just calm the state. And when we have more heightened senses, we can experience life more fruitfully, all the little things. Okay. Number 4, we do an exercise where we completely change your state, tapping into your true nature. What is all of our true nature? We can see this in a kid. What's the true nature of a child? Joy. What else?
Truth. No limits.
What was that word? Truth, yeah, I'm very honest. Yeah, loving, laughing, they're always laughing. Kids laugh at everything. Okay, this is our true nature. So we do some exercises there to get you back into your true nature. We want to start to look back on things where we haven't been at our best, and we just go back mentally, rehearse new behaviours. This will change the way you feel about yourself, and read Joe Dispenza's work on this, but it will start to remove those patterns from your being, because you're programming new ways of being in the past and the future. Very, very powerful. Okay, then we move into tapping into your unique nature. So we all have a true nature, which is look at a child, and then we all have our own gifts, okay, which we're going to go through an exercise shortly to identify that, because once you identify it, this is what you're going to meditate on. Your true gifts, you at your best. This is your flow state. No two people's flow state's the same. We're all different. Then we go into quick visualization, creating the future, but again, it's not on what we have, it's visualizing the be. Okay, we don't sit and visualize, I want 3 Ferraris, 7 wives, all blonde, 1 Colombian. Okay, we're going to visualize the being. Okay, so we go through that, and then we bring it into the now, a quick daily action plan. So we're going to skip that as well. So what a day may look like. Slide number 36. So this is what my day will look like fairly closely. I'll wake up, have my greens, bit of smoothie, coffee, all high vibration, no digestion. I'll jump in the hot cold shower 4:35, do a flow class at 6. Post-workout, I'll have a smoothie that is well balanced. You'll see in the not really recipe, but in the previous slides, what I would put in my smoothie that's got a good balance of carbs, proteins, fats. Lunch, I will have my first solid meal at lunch. Okay, I've got in the example day what that might be. It might be a salmon and salad, maybe some veggies, whatever it may be. Snack in the arvo if I'm hungry, if I've been training hard. We'll do dinner at 6. At 7:20, I'll start to wind down, stretch, do my meditation, do a bit of reading with the phone off. So that's a day in the life of the 8 rules. It's a pretty good day, to be honest. And if you've got time, I would go to the beach, get in nature, listen to music as well. And if you're doing work you love, it's a pretty fucking good day. Life is good. And you live on the sunny coast, so Jesus. I spent last year in Melbourne in lockdown, and it's like every day is just like, oh. Someone asked me, how are you loving the sunny coast? I go, I feel like I died early and I'm already in heaven. All right, we've got an exercise that you're going to need to do on your phone, okay, because this is going to make up your meditation. I want you to figure out and write on your notes, who am I? What is my true nature? So, you might in one sentence try and figure out what is your true nature, and you're going to write a sentence. Second question is, what are my strengths, talents, passions? Number 3 is a little harder. What is my purpose? You might not know your purpose yet. That's fine. You may have a short-term purpose. Your purpose right now might be being a mum. And that's it. That's fine. There's no problem with that. That's the cycle of life. Not every cycle of life is the same. We'll go through periods where you're an apprentice. That's not the most exciting period of your life if in your career as a male, trust me. Okay, but it's necessary. Okay, so not all cycles are the same. So I want you to write down those 3 exercises to start. What is your true nature? What are your strengths, talents, passions? And if you know, what is your purpose, either at the moment or longer term? And this is what you're going to meditate on daily and tap into. And in Australia, we kind of have this thing called tall poppy, where you're kind of not allowed to think about yourself as good at anything. And you're definitely not allowed to show it. Actually, it's one of the best things. I lived in America for periods, and I would say the biggest difference in American culture is if there's music on and you're at a party and you started dancing and singing, everyone would kind of get up and clap and encourage you. Where in Australia, that tall poppy is like, who's this guy think he is? He's not even that good. He thinks he's good at, you know. So that's one of the big differences. So we want to get that out and be unapologetically your true self. And what are your strengths? It could be anything. It could be, I would look at, actually we'll go through the next exercise to go over that. If you're struggling with this exercise, one of the best exercises I know to do this is, who are my 3 to 5 most inspiring people that I look up to that inspire me. In spirit. The word inspiration is in spirit. We're generally inspired by people that possess our true spirit, our true nature. And actually there's probably, the common trend I look even in self-development is modeling. And the reason modeling other people is so effective is because we only model people that hold traits that we possess within ourselves. I'm generally not connected to someone that has different values, traits, beliefs, skills as a generalization. So if you're struggling, write down your 3 to 5 most inspired people. And then you're going to write down what are their top 3 traits. What do you like about them? So if it's, say, Roger Federer, you might like his grace, his elegance, his style, his finesse. If it's Tony Robbins, it might be his passion, his impact, his enthusiasm for life, his work ethic, his knowledge, his ability to study. What is it? And what you're going to notice during this exercise is you're going to have 9 to 15 traits listed. And generally, you'll have a couple that double up. Okay, and this is generally screaming at you your true nature. It can be a movie character as well. It doesn't always have to be someone real. What patterns do you see? So when we go into the meditation and you're starting to meditate and we're visualizing our true nature, this is why this will come up. It might be nurturing, it might be I'm funny, I'm caring. It doesn't always have to be success-based. And then the next one, in your vision building, you want to get clear on vision, because we do visualization in the meditation. What does my health look like? Okay, and again, try and make it in the being, I am. Not I have 6-pack abs and 20-inch arms. It would be, I am disciplined, I am full of life, I train daily, I'm strong, I'm fit, I'm active, whatever it may be. And then most importantly, what does your state, energy, charisma look like, your true nature, kind of the previous slide. And this is what we want to visualize, just you at your best, in your flow state. What does that look like? Is it working hard? Is it inspiring others? Is it teaching? Is it doing great work? Is it being a great mother, nurturer, lover? Great, are you just a great friend that makes people feel warm? Do you just light up a room? Everyone's got strengths and skills. What do your relationships look like? Could be intimate, could be friendships, could be business relationships. And just think, watch yourself in those moments, engaging. How do you fly? And then what are your days filled with? This is a great exercise. My highest values are this work, surfing, eating out, so dogs. So my life's pretty much that. I'm at flow. If I'm not at flow, I'm surfing, I'm eating out and taking my dogs out. That's pretty much my life, the good life. But it's been visualized many times. And then what does your career look like? And then also with the career, one of the most powerful ways is to look at what is the butterfly effect of your career looking like that. And then lastly, you can finish these exercises. The reason we've got this PowerPoint for you is so you can finish these at home and put them in your notes. I view this every single morning. Okay, I viewed it this morning. I'm looking at my true nature, tapping into the best side of myself. We've all got a best side of ourselves and we've got a shitty side of ourselves. Whatever you do the most will program. So it's pretty simple. So every single morning, sometimes twice a day, we'll just go over what's my best nature, what's my truest nature, not my tired, cranky, victim, grouchy, aggressive side, which we all have. We all have a dark side, all of us. Sometimes the people that we think are the nicest have the darkest. Topic for another day. And lastly, guys, the last slide, weekly journal. So at the end of your weekly journal, don't overthink the journaling. It's just write. So I've got some questions here. What were the wins for the week? What were the lessons, challenges? How I'm feeling in general is probably the best one that I documented a lot. And just express how you're feeling about business, life, everything in general. What changes do you want to bring? And what are your big plans for the week? That will be your weekly journal. And I do that just on a Google Doc drive because I've always got Google Doc available. If I do it in a journal, it's not always with me. I do like technology for a lot of this stuff. And then lastly, what are the steps if you want to enter the challenge? So we've got some awesome prizes, so make sure everyone grabs a switch pack on the way out. We've been out one of our sponsors for the events. They'll be giving away the winner a $1,000 package of switch products. We've got another $1,000 of products from Neon. There's quite a few. Watch see them on the website. I won't list them all. But what is required? So from here, if you want to enter the challenge, not everyone has to document and submit, okay? It's up to you. If you want to do it, what we need to do is record footage. Part of our flowgression is we record 4 key yoga moves, video a couple of moves as well to watch your movement. We focus on movement rather than weight loss. The body will always follow your movement. The best way to look like an athlete is be athletic. Okay, and I said on one of our socials the other day, like the members here that are training consistently, they're looking like a hybrid of a yogi and an athlete. It's been really great to see. So the body will follow the movement, which is why we do that. We also measure a few things: max push-ups, plank, squat and press, and squat. And what you would need to do, we can do that. Me and Shane are going to be here for another 2 hours today. So some of you guys can squeeze in and do these shots today. If not, I think there's over 30 people that registered that couldn't be here today as well. So they'll be doing during the week as well. So book in. Obviously we can't do it while we've got class on, so it has to be outside those times, of course. And then in 8 weeks after it, you will retake those photos. We give you the app to show the before and after. We can't do all 70 people. I would need it would be my full-time job, editing, which I'm not going to sign up for. Definitely not in spirit. Not inspiring work for me. So you would do it on your phone, take the photos and video. We'll actually do it for you because we obviously know what moves you're going to do. We'll record it on your phone and do the exercises. 8 weeks we re-record, and if you want to submit to win the challenge, you have to send through your 8 before and afters of your movement, as well as a little bit of a half-page write-up on the 8 weeks. What you noticed, what you felt, what you learned about yourself, etc., etc. And that will be the challenge.
Hey, what are the three poses that I got?
What's that?
What are the three?
We'll do some really simple ones have been the best. Up dog, down dog. You'll see how your spine's going through just up dog, down dog, forward fold, back bend. Warrior 3 will show us a lot about your deep core, strength and stability. We do a Pilates hover alternating reach, which will also show us your deep core. We'll do a Cossack squat on video, which will show us your range of motion, strength down low. Max push-ups will tell us all about your upper body strength or lack of it. And dumbbell squat and press, and a plank. The plank will show us a lot about your deep core as well. So we do these exercises because we actually learn more about your body for the practice, but it's also great because if you guys have seen some of the transformations, it's been, when Nicole was here earlier, like her down dog was a box. And she's nearly not a perfect A-frame, but in 30 days, she's gone from a box-shaped down dog to nearly an A-frame. And we've had some amazing before and afters. It's been awesome. So it's great to document the journey as well. Any questions? Because obviously info overload today. These 5 elements is really going to turn into a 4-day practitioner training. So I've kind of tried to jam what I would normally do in 3 or 4 days into an hour 15. So a lot of info. You've got the PDF to go back over. I've recorded the PDF as well. This has been recorded. Everything else is on that back end. Any questions? Tau? Both. Yeah. Yeah, so Tau and the Dao is, they use both depending on which I'm guessing at some point in China, some people said Tao and some said Dao. Yeah, so they're the same thing. Taoism and Taoism are the same thing, which is the ancient philosophy of, it's loosely based on flow. Supplements. So Switch Nutrition supplements are great. So in there, you'll see how I would take supplements. I've taken a greens blend every day for the last 14 years. Would never miss that because it's got all my antioxidants, alkalizing minerals, all the minerals in balance, high concentration, no carbs, easy digestion. And the Switch one's really good. Like it's super high concentrate, no nasties, fillers, and it's probably the best tasting greens. Oh, we've got a discount code for it too, don't we? Shane will post that. I'll put it on the back end actually. So there's, I think, is it 25% off? Yeah, they also do a good MCT bulletproof coffee as well. And then if you have trouble sleeping, their adrenal support's really good. Their vegan protein, I do use vegan protein, you'll see in the diet. I use it to cheat on my dessert because I've got a sweet tooth. So for dessert, I have a bit of coconut yogurt, 2 scoops of any kind of plant-based protein powder, a few blueberries. I psychologically feel like I'm eating chocolate mousse. But I'm obviously not.
You're smart, you are.
Anything to keep all my, keep the good life. Any other questions, or is it pretty straightforward? But yeah, this 8 weeks, as I said, you can change your vibration, your mindset, the way your brain's wired. Obviously, you've seen in the before and after photos, you can transform your movement, state, biology, and to be honest, like I've had a fair few people go, since I've been on flow, like, shit's starting to go really well in my life. I'm like, well, you're living in flow with the universe. This is what'll happen. You had a high vibration. You'll notice it. And actually, when I come up with the concept online a year ago, before we opened here, I noticed actually a lot of people were going really well and then ended up doing their own career in some form of flow. So like, this shit works. Like, you will transform, life will get better, everything will upgrade. Starts with your health, starts with your movement, but really the deep stuff is the practice of meditation, changing your state every single session, upgrading your biology, upgrading your science and your vibration, and things will get much better. And if you live the philosophy of flow, everything seems better anyway, because you just see everything is on your way, not in your way. And that alone. And one of my favorite quotes from Peter Cohn is, most people don't need a new life, they just need a new perspective on their current one. And then all of a sudden, the state will raise and they had everything they needed. We don't need new things, we don't need new haves, we need new bees, and we will have better things. That's the idea of the concept. So a little bit deeper than a weight loss challenge. As you can see, when people come to me and they've got, I've got abs, or I can touch my toes, cool, I'm excited for you. But when people upgrade their psychology, transform their life, that's when I'm like, aha, you got it, you get it. That's the inspiring part. So that is it. I don't want to take any more of your time sitting down. I hate sitting down, so I feel for you. Hopefully the backs are all right. If you guys do want to stick around and do the photos now, you can. If not, we can do it next week. But it needs to be done next week, or the 8 weeks kind of won't flow as far as the timing of the transformation goes. Thanks for joining us, guys. Make sure you grab a packet on your way out as well.